Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is HBCU Game Day. 2021 is almost in the books, and depending on when you watch this, hey, Happy New Year. We might already be rolling into 2022. All right, let's start the new year off right then. My man from the pregame show, it is Uncle Neely coming into the new year with a new name. My man, Neely, how were your holidays, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. We had a great and outstanding 2021 in Jackson State athletics. Probably no coincidence that the year 21 was a great year for us because, we hired our 21st head coach and he wore number 21. 2021 was a great year.
Hey, can't complain, man. We did talk to you after the Celebration Bowl. Some people think you were in hiding. Actually, they didn't see you on YouTube because I totally screwed up our recording. It was Christmas Eve. I was trying to do 8 million things, and I was just like, you know what? We're not going to redo this. Enjoy your Christmas. We'll talk later. So here we are.
Here we are.
And just briefly, it's almost like ancient history now. What's kind of been the vibe, man? Jackson State and their players and their coaches don't seem like the types that sit around and spend too much crying. What was the post-celebration bowl loss vibe like when you guys touched back down in Jackson?
Well, I think it stung. I think that the Tigers, the players, the staff, the fan base wanted to win that game, went to Atlanta to win that game, and we got it handed to us. We were never fully in that game offensively, defensive side of the ball, or special teams. Hats off to South Carolina State for doing what they did. They came in with a better game plan, better execution. And the Tigers, the pregame show, no one is hiding, from that loss. It is what it is. But I also think that there has been an accentuation of that our main goal, if you will, was reached, and we won the SWAC championship and won it convincingly by going undefeated in the SWAC. So that is something that a bowl game loss cannot erase. Everybody wants to win their last game. You want to close out your season on a high note. But there's also a significant prize that was obtained, which is the SWAC championship, and the manner in which we got it going undefeated in the SWAC. You cannot erase that with a bowl game loss.
You know what? I'm sorry, Neely. I buried the lead here. What do you think about my beard, man? I think I kind of like mine a little better than yours, man.
You probably are biased. Charles Bishop, our good friend Chuck, is growing a beard too. I call it the Neely effect. We're going to look up in 2022 and the world is going to have a beard.
Neely's been trying to get me to drink the Jackson State Kool-Aid outright all year long. I have slightly held off on that, but I'm going to be real. Neely, I do this every Christmas. I go a year, that kind of vacation mode between Christmas, New Year's. I kind of trim it up a little bit. January 1st, man, I'll cut it all off. I can't do it.
Well, it won't be with us long, man.
I can't do it. All right, back to the real topic that people really want to hear about. Listen, I have one of the benefits of having an iconic coach like Deion Sanders is that you get promotion, advertisement. Your name stays in people's mouths in a way that you could not even pay for. Since the Celebration Bowl, man, Jackson State, HBCUs, Deion Sanders, they've been a lead conversation on ESPN in the morning. Keyshawn and Jay Will and Max. Rich Eisen had a crazy interview with Deion, and by crazy I mean good. They touched on a lot of things. I just riding around, I hear promos for national shows, and they pull snippets of conversations they had about Jackson State and Travis Hunter and his decision. Man, it's been a lot of exposure in the last couple of weeks for Jackson State that, again, otherwise, if you had to buy it, you couldn't have afforded that level of exposure. The people that have been talking about the Tigers.
You absolutely couldn't put a price on it. When he was named the head coach of Jackson State University, the market value as far as earned media and folks talking about your name and your brand went absolutely through the roof during that time period. And it just continues because one thing about it, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is not shy about sharing his opinion. He's going to share his opinion with you sometimes even when you don't ask. So being in this off period, if you will, we're postseason after the bowl game. Early signing period happened, which generated some news with Travis Hunter. And he's at home resting and rehabbing and getting ready for 2022. So his media availability is out there, and he is not shy about letting folks know what he thinks. And when people ask, he gives you a little more than you even asked for. So we're excited about it. I think it's a great thing for not only Jackson State, but HBCUs in general to have such a high profile head coach who is out there beating the gong, if you will, banging the gong, beating the drum, making a lot of noise and getting attention in the right manner toward HBCU athletics.
Yeah, and now is the time, man. I really hope that all programs can take advantage. Not everybody's going to be in the macro conversation in nationwide broadcast, but man, if your local media, if on the micro level there's more interest in you now than there was before, please take advantage of it. Don't be in that mindset where I don't want to say anything, I don't want to make anybody mad, so I'm just going to stay quiet, avoid the spotlight. Man, put yourself out there. At the end of the day, that's how this game works, man. It's advertising, it's exposure, it's earned media. How much of it can you get without paying for it and not necessarily having to put the labor into it to generate your own, which is good as well, which is we have shows like the pregame show. But I really hope that everyone really leans into it. Hugh Jackson, he's been out there. He's maybe not interview for interview with Coach Sanders, but he's been in a lot of national conversations as well. So I think it's all good, trending in the right direction. Neely, you guys got some visits coming soon. Travis Hunter has made some ripples, some waves. Heck, ripples that's an insult. He's made waves in the recruiting game. In case you missed it, Travis Hunter, the #1 high school prospect in the country, committed to Jackson State the week of the Celebration Bowl, so he's going to be a Tiger. And now we have the #1 running back in the country. He took notice and he said, that kind of surprised me a little bit. He's going to visit FAMU. He's going to visit Jackson State now. He declared that on his social media. That might not have happened if Travis Hunter doesn't make his decision, Neely.
I don't think it happens if Travis Hunter doesn't make his decision. I don't think Travis Hunter makes his decision if Deion Sanders doesn't make his decision. I don't think Hugh Jackson or Eddie George make their decisions if Deion Sanders doesn't make his decision. I think these are just dominoes that are falling in line, if you will. They're just going to be, as you spoke on, that ripple effect or bigger than a ripple of wave. And it's going to be for many, many signees and coaches, you name it, to come with media attention. But it started back with that inaugural class of Coach Prime, which included his son, Shedeur Sanders, who at the time was the highest player to sign with an HBCU. And then that class mushroomed. And you look going into this year, now you have the #1 player in the nation, #2 in some polls, but indisputably #1 at his position at cornerback. Travis Hunter choosing the HBCU, choosing Jackson State. And because of his pride and his statements and why he chose Jackson State, it is opening the eyes of other players around the nation saying, hey, I need to consider this too. There's a lot of merit to it. And some of them are, as you mentioned, going to visit FAMU. And Coach Prime has always said that this thing is not just about Jackson State, it's about all HBCUs. But he's going to pay a visit to Jackson State as well. And of course, we're going to do our due diligence that he makes the right decision. Probably doesn't hurt us that he's from Fort Myers. So there's a little homeboy connection there. I'm sure Coach Prime knows how to talk that Fort Myers lingo, and we'll see where he lands. But the fact that you have these outstanding, high-profile athletes not only interested in HBCUs, but giving due diligence and doing their homework and actually signing with HBCUs is just a great statement for the brand in general.
And I love the narrative that Coach Sanders has put out there because he addressed on the Rich Eisen show, we wrote about it at hbcugameday.com, where he talked about Florida State and their detractors. And, he talked about, it was kind of along the same lines of the things that Master P has talked about over the years. If Florida State, and this is what Coach Sanders said, and I'm paraphrasing here, Florida State has been selling me all those years, and I've been helping them recruit and seal the deal on some players, then what's the problem when I start selling myself for me? And this is Coach Sanders talking about himself.
Sure.
And it kind of brings in that entrepreneurial spirit, when no matter if you're a football coach or whatever, if you're going to go out there and make money for somebody else, and why can't you do it for yourself? Why can't we build our own and build that up as opposed to, going to the outside and helping centuries, centuries of building up other people's wealth and fortune. So I love the narrative that's going on right now.
No doubt about it, man. If you look around the nation at Power Five schools and the facilities that they have been able to build and the earned media through national championships and games on TV and that revenue that it's been able to build, and it has been built primarily and chiefly off of young African American athletes that they recruited to those schools. And there never was a problem with, say, a Coach Prime and his gravitas in attracting kids to Florida State. But as he said, when he starts using his own for his own, then it becomes a problem for some people. Some folks only celebrate what you're doing as long as it benefits them. They really don't want you to be free and be free to grow yourself. They just want you to continue to plow into what they're doing. But we pay it not too much of any, never mind. I do think that it is a wake up call to student athletes out there that these same fan bases and even some officials with institutions who tell you one thing to recruit you, but then when you decide to do something else, the truth comes out on how they really feel about you and where you may be headed. So I think you're seeing a shift in the narrative, a shift in the conversation, a conversation that Coach Sanders and HBCU Game Day, the pre-game show, everybody in this space is willing to have, and that is why not choose HBCU. You can have all your dreams fulfilled in that path. It is where we could go in the past, and we can call it home, and it's time to start coming back home. So I think you're going to see more and more Shedeur Sanders, who had choices to go other places, more and more Travis Hunters, who had choices to go other places. You're going to see them decide to go to HBCUs in the weeks, days, months, and years to come. This is not just a flash in the pan kind of thing that's happening right now. It's just a hot topic going to fade away. This is literally a change in the paradigm, a change in the narrative, and it started at 1400 Lynch Street with Coach Prime.
And this generation, what are they still Gen Zs, Neely? I can't keep up, man.
I get it. I can't keep up.
Let's assume this current generation of high school prospects are still Gen Z, and we haven't gone back to Gen A or wherever we would go next. They're different, man, and we always talk about how they're different this ways, and each generation always kind of playfully and some more seriously, disparage the generation after them, but. When we looked at, Black Lives Matters and we looked at the racial reckoning that we saw, there was a lot of young people on the forefront that took that torch and really just ran with it, man. They operate and think differently, man. It's not the same old for these kids out here.
I agree with that. And I think each generation, the previous generation, is about creating opportunity for the next one. As you said, Tali, generations tend to be critical of who comes after them and saying things like, oh, back in my day, we would have fill in the blank. But it's all about creating this space and an opportunity for who comes after you. So there's been a lot of labor in the vineyards and HBCUs to create an atmosphere where young African Americans can see their value and know that they can take their value back to their own people in their own space, which happens to be a very safe space. Then you have things like Black Lives Matter come into play. And the world totally changed after George Floyd. It was really a tipping point, if you will. That summer, you saw just a lot of change. You had African American athletes at Power Five schools who were helping demand a change of a flag in Mississippi, saying I'm not going to play sports if that flag is still flying. So this generation, they about the business, man, and they understand the value of what they bring to the table. They understand the return on investment. They understand reciprocity. And so they are looking to not just do what always has been done, but where can I maximize my value? Where can it be most appreciated? Where can there be a return on investment, not just in the immediate sense, but in generations to come? And that's one of the things that HBCUs offer. When you attend a HBCU, it is for life. You have a place to come back to for homecomings, and your kids end up coming. It's not just a 2 or 3 or 4 year thing. You never look back or go back there and hang out. And they are attracted to that, and that's a selling point. And when you look at the opportunities that a person like a Coach Prime at Jackson State, or Hugh Jackson at Grambling, or Eddie George up there at Tennessee State, Nashville, can impart on these young people, it becomes even more attractive. I really do think this is just the tip of the iceberg, that what you see as a revolution today is going to be an institution tomorrow. It is going to be a normalized thing where the best of the best return to HBCUs.
Well said. Totally agree. Let's move forward here, Neely. One of the things that Coach Sanders talked about, and all coaches and people who are involved with HBCU sports want to see, and that's players drafted consistently in the NFL. It's the best sport because it has the biggest labor force, unlike basketball, smaller teams, and really, if you don't go in the first round, chance you don't even make the team. NFL, half the players are undrafted free agents. More guaranteed money, of course, if you do get drafted. That's the caveat. You guys got a couple of players. James Houston, most notably, or most recently, if you will, announced that he had the opportunity, if he wanted to, he could have come back for one more year, but he's going to go ahead and forego and go to the NFL. Keontae Hampton is on his way to prepare for the draft as well. There's some other players I'm sure I'm leaving out, but what do you think about those guys, and what do you think's in store for them next, and how can they lean on the resources, of a Coach Sanders and that coaching staff who's well steeped in the inner workings of the NFL?
I think they've leaned on it, and that's not to suggest that they don't have more leaning they could do. But those guys had the opportunity to play for Jackson State, to play for Coach Prime, and they had several games that were on TV, and their stats, spoke for themselves. They were leaders in the conference and leaders in the nation statistically. And I tell you that NFL team would not only be getting an outstanding player in the James Houston, he'll be getting an outstanding person. His family background is off the field. Everything that he brings to the table is just hard work and drive. So you have a James Houston who you hate to see go because he was such a dynamic player, but we wish him the best, and we're just fully believing he's going to get the best, that he's going to be on the NFL roster. Same thing with Keontae Hampton and Antoine Owens, who came from Georgia Tech to Jackson State. And some of those receivers, like, say, Keith Corbin. I think there's just tremendous upside. That's why they've been getting invited, to the East-West Shrine game and getting invited to the NFLPA Bowl. Because they bring a lot to the table, and there are going to be a lot of continued eyes on them. They've been coached by NFL coaches, such as a Dennis Thurman and the Jeff Weeks and the Kevin Mathis. And those people have friends and relationships throughout the NFL, just as Coach Prime does. So I think you're going to see them getting some opportunities and some looks that they are well prepared for as it relates to their talent. And even some of the things we've been doing with the pregame show and working with guys on their interview skills and interviewing them in the heat of the moment right there on the sideline. I think you're going to see them ready for those interviews, whether it's at the Combine or the Senior Bowl or some of these other bowl games. These guys bring the total package to the table because Coach Prime wanted them well prepared to become professionals, not just professional football players, but professionals after their college playing days are done. So I don't think you've heard the last of their names as it relates to football in the next level. These guys have a bright future.
And also during the year, I mean, these are other experiences and opportunities that, look, do they help 1%, 0.5%? I don't know. We know that they don't hurt. When a Rex Ryan comes and visits and you're able to, Zoom with Troy Aikman and probably 20 other people that, are involved in the NFL that have spoken to these kids that we just didn't know about, or there was so much stuff that we forgot about it by now. But those are great opportunities as well when you're looking to go to the next level.
I think we're all the sum of our experiences. Everything that we touch and it touches us, you take it with you in your next endeavors. And some of the folks that Coach Prime has called on to pour to these guys, and Mickey Loomis, who is defense coordinator at Florida State and Coach Prime. Like you said, Troy Aikman has been to games and talked to the team, Rex Ryan. And some of these players have developed personal relationships and stay in contact with these folks long after their visit to the school. And it just speaks well to getting them prepared for that next level of professionalism after their amateur days are done in college at Jackson State. So again, Tali, I don't think that there's going to be what happened to them, where they end up. You're going to see where they end up. These guys bring a lot to the table. And as Coach Prime has pointed out, if you got what it takes, they're going to find you. And it's very easy to find you when you've been playing on TV. And these guys have participated in games on national TV and excelled in them, not only excelling in their conference and getting conference awards, but they have done outstanding things nationally in their statistics. So NFL is going to take note. There are going to be scouts that have come to practice and was writing their names down, and I get to spend some time with them and see some individual workouts and all those kind of things. So I think you're going to this year start to see some of those Tigers and Coach Prime's dream of HBCU, particularly SWAC players getting drafted, but it's only going to go up from here.
And let's not forget my favorite moment that you captured from the season, that visit from Charles Haley. I think if, I think if you can stand the Charles Haley workout, I don't know if there's any other NFL coach that can break your spirit, man, because he kept it 100 times 100.
Yeah, and that's just what we were able to air. You know, if you looked on the edit floor, there was a lot of Charles Haleyisms that just couldn't make the YouTube censor. So he poured a lot into those guys, and they learned from one of the best to ever do it. And so just another example of, being a sum of your experiences and coming to Jackson State and being affiliated with Coach Prime and getting to touch everything that has touched him as well. These guys grew this year, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing where their story unfolds to next.
All right, come on, Neely. It's just me and you right here. All right, brother. All right. Signing day, the secondary signing day hasn't gotten here yet, man. Christmas is gone. Come on, tell me about some of them boxes under the tree, man. Come on.
Woo! There's some nice ones, man. I can tell you that some of the visits that are coming up in January, some of the student athletes in the high school level, even the transfer portal, that have expressed interest in Jackson State post-Celebration Bowl, post-early signing period. I think that we are poised to once again have an historic signing class that's going to match and or exceed Coach Prime's first signing class. I don't think, you can write it down, you heard it here from good old Uncle Neely, I don't think Travis Hunter is going to be alone in this signing class as far as being someone that makes people go, oh, wow, that's major. So there's some more coming. We're continuing to, work the grindstone and recruit to the last minute until that signing period is over. But we're trying to get all the best of the best we can at Jackson State University. And if they don't consider here, we want them to consider HBCUs and make sure that spotlight is there as well. So, Tyler, yes, Christmas is gone, but we haven't opened all the gifts yet. So some more coming.
That was the first time you referred to yourself first person as Uncle Neely. It is official.
And I even said, good old Uncle Neely.
Yes. It's stuck. You now consider yourself Uncle Neely. We are all good. 2022 is coming up, man. People have enjoyed the pregame show throughout the year. You guys covering football, obviously, but you're not about to go on a 6-month vacation. You guys got some pretty good basketball squads down there too, man.
We do, and we're getting ready for that. Shortly after the new year, when we bring in the new year, SWAC season is starting. We got a home opener where we host Alcorn. Of course, the men and the women, Lady Tigers and the Tigers, will be playing Alcorn for that home SWAC opener. Lady Tigers are poised, man, looking ready to defend that SWAC championship and go back on a run. They had a very successful November to December, playing some of those out-of-conference games, playing some real tough opponents with real tight scores and getting out of there with some wins as well. Same thing with the Tigers, with the men's team. They are looking poised to make a deep run as well. Texas Southern is just one of those squads in the SWAC on the men's side that's much like our Lady Tigers. They are the team to beat. So we're hoping that we grow and develop more during the season and up for that challenge. But I think you're going to see the Lady Tigers of basketball and the men make deep runs, have a successful SWAC. And I'm looking forward to both teams winning the SWAC championship in basketball. So the pregame show is going to be covering all of that. Naturally, there are two teams playing 4 games in about a 7-day period. So a lot to cover. So we won't be able to get all of it as far as the access that we did with football, but you can expect weekly updates, at least weekly updates between those SWAC games. SWAC is Saturdays and Mondays. So we'll play Saturday and Monday, bring you some updates on Wednesday, and then forecast for the upcoming game. So no time off for the pregame show. All gas, no breaks, Tyler.
All right, how about some 2-sport athletes from the football team? Will any of those I hate calling men dogs, but I can't think of anything else quickly. Will any of those dogs play in other sports at JSU in the spring?
I'm looking forward to Mal Weidman getting out there, man. When he was in the portal and decided to come to Jackson State, that was one of the carrots on the stick, if you will, is that he was going to be allowed to play basketball and football, and that was something that Coach Prime supported, as well as Coach Wayne Brent, the men's head basketball coach, supported. I don't know when that transition will actually take place, but the guy can play. If you think he can catch balls in that back pylon, if you high point that thing, you wait till you see him go for alley-oop. The guy is a monster on the basketball court just as much as he is on the football field. So he wore 13 for football. I don't know what he'll be wearing for basketball, but he won't be hard to find. He's the one whose head will be above the rim.
Yeah, Malachi Wideman, man, that guy can go. He can get up in the air. Look, Jackson State baseball is as good as they come. Will we see a Sanders on the baseball team? That would be so cool. Is there any possibility of that at all?
I don't think you will see it. Coach Prime last year when he got here, he did go out with the team in the batting cage and showed them what he still had and that kind of thing. But I don't think you'll see a Sanders out there playing baseball. But I am looking forward to a successful baseball season as well. We made a hell of a season in the regular season and came up short in the finals at the SWAC tournament. But a record-setting season for Jackson State baseball as far as wins and runs and stolen bases were, eclipsing and shattering some national records. But I'm also, Todd, to be frank with you, looking forward to seeing what the impact of now having FAMU and Bethune-Cookman in the SWAC for baseball. Florida is big for baseball. And, those two teams not only joined the SWAC, but being in the SWAC East. And it's going to be interesting to see with this budding rivalry on the football side of things with FAMU, how much that spills over into baseball and how much baseball will those Florida teams bring into the SWAC conversation this spring. So Jackson State is a favorite again as far as going into that tournament. Won't be surprised if somebody from Florida is nipping at the heels and right there with them.
That baseball tournament, man, I understand why they do it, but I thought that was just so heartbreaking. Whether had it been Jackson State or anybody else, that it's double elimination through the week, and then on Sunday, you just got to deliver one game for television, and whoever wins or loses, that's it. So you could have one loss and lose to a team with one loss and still not be the champion. That had to sting a little bit, but
it did, and the thing is with baseball. It wasn't like the football season where you have that true SWAC championship. You want to win, that tournament. But like you said, Tolly, it's much like March Madness. You don't have to be the best team; you just got to be the best team on that day in March. And when that baseball season rolled around, it gets that final game. That regular season doesn't matter how many games you won, how many people you swept in the tournament. That final game, you got to win it, and we came up short. So I think the Tigers are going to be hungry to get back and avenge that. And Coach Omar Johnson, man, just one of the premier coaches, not just in the SWAC, but in college baseball, period, has those guys ready to go. So baseball is going to be a great time, and it's going to be some great rivalries out there, particularly, as I mentioned, with those new additions, if you will, to the SWAC.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, spring, what can we expect? Look, we're already ready for the teams to get back out there for spring ball. When can fans expect that to ramp up and we start seeing players in shorts and pads out on the field again?
It won't be long at all, Tyler, because you got to think about it. In January, there's going to be a special session for walk-on tryouts. You got to be a full-time student already on campus, and there's a packet of information that you can request from football operations. So sometime in late January, early February, there's going to be a walk-on tryouts for football. Then you look up, man, you get into that late March, mid-March kind of, it's time for spring ball and the blue and white game. And then you look up, the semester's over and kids are back here for summer school. So it's going to go by fast, but I am looking forward to having a true off season because, we didn't have one in 2021. We went from February to December with football year round. So now we at least get, a little pause in this thing as we go through National Signing Day, the open opportunity for walk-on tryouts, and then getting into spring practice in the blue and white game.
All right, Uncle Neely, good old Uncle Neely from the pregame show. He leaves you with this. Don't be surprised if somebody along the lines, in the same stratosphere as Travis Hunter, becomes a Tiger and makes you raise an eyebrow like, oh, wow, this is a thing.
Don't be surprised. We got some more coming, Tom. We're gonna open some gifts in January. How about that?
Hey, Kwanzaa, man. We just stretch this thing all the way out, man. All Valentine's Day, Martin Luther King Day, you name the day. We're gonna have presents for every
You don't
holiday.
know no Martin Luther King.
Oh man, that's awesome, brother. Well, look, man, we appreciate it all throughout the year. We'll keep things rolling, man. Keep people talking, love it or hate it. You're gonna hear about the Tigers, man, because everybody wants to know what's going on, or they want to say, what about? Look, if you love your school, right? We love all the schools. The best way to show love is go watch, comment, interact with the stuff on your school. Don't talk in the thread about another school trying to hype up your school, because it's all analytics, baby. This is my last time explaining it for 2021. When people engage, when they watch, when they comment, when they click, that tells us as content producers, oh, you want to see more.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie. Your mouth lies. Numbers don't lie.
And people will tell you what they like. They're going to prove to you what they like. And those algorithms don't lie. The more you click, the more you comment, the more you share, subscribe, even when you're doing it with a negative intent, the algorithm says it's a positive thing. So as it relates to HBCU game day, as it relates to the pregame show and everything in the HBCU space, y'all keep liking, clicking, subscribing. And I don't care if you hate. Just keep doing it.
But seriously though, if you want to see more content for your school, it's all a hack, right? Go to Google, whatever search engine you use, type in that school. The internet is going to feed you more content from that. They know what you're watching. They know what you're asking for. That stuff is going to just start populating everywhere you go. Click on it, read it. Eventually, it's going to get back to the content producers, and they're going to say, oh wow, my Norfolk State stories are rising. My South Carolina State stories are rising. My Alcorn State stories are rising. My Mississippi Valley State stories are rising. Let's do more. That's all you got to do, man. Just look, less of this, more of this. That's my advice. I'm trying to help everybody, Neely. That's all I can do, man.
Hey, and I'm trying to help myself. So the more you see the pregame show, and you click dislike or hateful comment, it still works. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. All right, man. Well, enjoy what's left of this year, man. Don't bust it wide open in Jackson, man. Leave a little bit for the kitty, and we'll see you and Chuck in 2022.
Hey, man, what a wonderful 2021 working with HBCU Game Day. So on behalf of Chuck Bishop, my partner over at the pregame show, wishing you guys at HBCU Game Day a prosperous 2022 and looking forward to this partnership, man. And let's take it a whole nother year. Let's do some more things together to grow the brand of HBCU sports.